I'm just saying, though, here's my thing, guys, okay, is like if we want to have the fight about dark money, we can have the fight about dark money. But we do need to be consistent. And we do need to be consistent that, yeah, 𝗍𝗡𝗏 being a middleman for dark money is weird. And yeah, though, having journalists like Taylor Lorenz, independent journalists that are getting paid the same amount of money from a middleman who's in bed with all of those dark money groups, that's weird too. Like, it's just weird that all of this dark money is flowing around, and then we're arguing about who's being darker, right? Oh, he's not taking dark money, he's just funding dark money. Oh, they're taking dark money, but I'm funding dark money. And it's like, dude, that's dumb. Because at the end of the day, guys, we need each other. Okay, Brian Tyler Cohen and Taylor Lorenz and Matt Binder and Mike Figueredo and Kyle Kulinski and fucking Franny and you know, Tommy Viator and fucking Hakeem Jeffries and AOC. God damn it, we all need each other. Okay? Because the problem is if we don't all get together, those Republican motherfuckers are gonna shove a Bible right up our fucking asses. And Gaza's gonna be gone, and the West Bank's gonna be gone, and there's gonna be Bibles in our fucking ass, and the gay people are gonna be in work camps if we don't get our shit together. What is up, guys? Buckle up. This is an important video. We've had a scandal hit the Democratic Party. The Taylor Lorenz, 𝗍𝗡𝗏, Brian Tyler Cohen thing. It's kind of hitting critical mass. I wanted to give you an opinion on it. Prepare, though. We're about to take a look at the leftists feeding on liberals. And I have some really strong opinions about this. Now, I think everybody on the left, 𝗍𝗏, we have to decide if we want to win or if we want to end up biblical. I mean, it's getting to that point. Now, get ready. This video is a long one. It's broken into a couple parts. The first part is a little bit about the leftist versus liberal struggle. Then there is a section in there where we look at the 𝗍𝗡𝗏 and we look at Taylor Lorenz and Brian Tyler Cohen. And then there's a section where we talk about money and politics as it relates to the reality of people on the left, who has power and who doesn't. And the very end is a really important section where we talk about, like, how do we move forward with this? Because we're getting at a point where there is so much animosity on the left that we may very well never win another election again if we don't get our heads out of our asses and figure out who our real allies are. That being said, I'd love to hear your feedback. Drop a like, hit that sub button, and please leave me a comment. I'd really love to hear where your guys' heads are at. And if you have any ideas about what the left does moving forward, I would love to chat about that too. You can also join the Discord. The link is down in there. And to the members, I want to say thank you, guys. Like, couldn't be doing this without you. All right, you ready? Let's get into it. I'm just saying that leftism in America, and this is in America, guys, okay? This is not worldwide, but in America, leftism is a weird kind of shell game, okay? Because leftism, they don't have a lot of political power. They don't have their own party, and they complain a lot about their own party because their own party's not left enough. But when the right-wing party wins in America, all those wealthy leftists make more money. So it's actually financially better for them if the Democratic Party loses. And you remember yesterday, guys, how I was saying, as a YouTuber, the algorithm tells me what works and what doesn't. If I have videos that get 50,000 views, I make more of those videos because my audience likes them. And it's good for my channel. It helps me grow. I'm not going to make 2,000 view videos when I can be making videos that get 50,000 views. YouTube wants me to make 50,000 view videos, okay? Right? And it's the same with politics, guys. If you make more money when the left-wing party loses, you're going to help the left-wing party lose. Like, why would they fight for the Democrats to win? There's no reason for them to fight for the Democrats to win. Conflating liberals with leftists? No, I think they're one and the same. They both have a stake. I mean, liberals are different because they have more power, So they at least want to win because they want to hold on to their power. But like leftists don't have any power. Leftists don't really have any power. So the only thing they have is that paycheck. I mean, that's kind of how I see it. And I'm not saying leftists are bad, because I love leftist policy. But this is, though, guys, why I want to see leftists and liberals like partner up. Because if we're not partnering up, then you know that both of those groups, the liberals and the leftists, are trying to sink their own party because it's beneficial to them. Okay, that they're both doing it. Okay, it's not just the leftists and it's not just the centrists, but the centrists and the leftists can't win without partnering up. So if they're not partnering up, then maybe they've just realized, wow, it's more profitable when we don't win. And we have enough money to like avoid the negative circumstances, right? If you're white and you have money, Republican policies aren't going to hurt you. So the leftist pundits that are in the elite system and the liberal pundits that are in the elite system, and right, they all have a vested interest in continued losing because now they have a common enemy that allows them to raise money to fight those bastards, but they just keep hitting the fucking cash register, you know? And so that's why if we're not working together, at some point we got to think that like, okay, at some point we got to think that like maybe we're doing this shit on purpose. You know, we need to unite. Yes, I want us to unite. The dark money thing is going crazy. And so I want to point something out here. I want to go over this tweet that I wrote about the dark money. This is something we should cover because I'm not going to watch a whole bunch of videos. I've been seeing shit on TikTok and everybody's sort of defending their point of view, right? The people that are like pro the dark money are saying, you know, we need this money. We need to be supported. And the people that are anti the dark money are like, they're taking dark money. They're the bad guys. But like, I think we're all kind of convoluted. But I do want to point out a couple of things. And I do have to point out something about Chorus. Okay, we are Chorus because you know I love Brian Tyler Cohen. And I don't think Brian Tyler Cohen is a crazy fucking sneak. You know what I'm saying? He's always been very above board with me. However, there was one thing on the We Are Chorus that I noticed that I had a problem with. See, the thing about this, though, is you say BTC is a Dem shill, but like, dude, that's just what he believes in, okay? When you say shill, you're saying that everybody who supports the Democratic Party or the centrist part of the Democratic Party, the corporate part of the party, is like a shill. But a whole bunch of people like that party, bro. They like it. You know, there's a bunch of people that don't like the far leftist shit that like I like, or the far leftist shit, the way far left shit that Hassan likes. Okay, there's a whole bunch of people in the Democratic Party who liked Joe Biden. There are people there who like Joe Biden more than Zohran Mamdani, okay, in the Democratic Party. And that doesn't make them a shill because their comfort level for change and trying things different is different than yours. You know what I mean? They still believe in like civil rights and shit. But the thing about this, though, is Brian Tyler Cohen has access to those people, okay? If you go online and talk shit about your Congress people, you will never get any information from them. You will never get interviews from them. You will never become a part of like helping people in the Democratic Party get elected. Okay, now the thing about it is Brian Tyler Cohen is a mainstream media news source. He works with Democracy Docket. He fucking features politicians of all stripes, the progressive ones and the non-progressive ones, the conservative Democrats. He covers it all. But his job is to have those people on the air and to get their viewpoints out to as many people as possible. So he's not going to go there and talk shit about 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗪s because then none of the Democrats would ever be able to appear on his fucking show. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's not like BTC is a shill. He's doing his fucking job. It's the same with Midas Touch. They're doing their job. If they didn't want to be big mainstream media outlets, right, they wouldn't do that. And the thing about this, though, is they do it in a way that is better. They provide more pushback than like CNN does, okay? Because they're not corporate funded. You know what I'm saying? And you say it's being a sellout, but I see it differently. I don't consider that being a sellout. It's just their fucking job. Like, some people are going to be mainstream news outlets that have access to the politicians, and then some people are going to have access to nobody, and they're not going to have anyone on there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at me, okay? I talk a lot of shit. I use a lot of language. You might never see anybody like from the inner workings of politics come on my show, okay? Because of the vibe that I put out and the sort of aggression and the in-your-face character of me. I may not ever have access to a lot of that shit, okay? And so not everybody's going to do that. There are some people that want to be mainstream. It's like the same with music, okay? Bands that write really good songs that sell 1 million records, everyone calls them a sellout. But it's like, dude, why are you going to blame somebody who writes a good song and makes $1 million if they want to be a successful pop songwriter? Like, that's not a sellout. It's hard to be a successful pop songwriter. It's hard to be like as good as Brian Tyler Cohen is. He's a really good fucking YouTuber. And a lot of times gives fair interviews, and he will offer some people challenge, but he also is like there to help the Democratic Party win. He believes in the party, he believes in their objective, and so that's his goal. And like, I'm not going to harm people for like having their goal if they love the Democratic Party and they want to support it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just don't have a problem with that. Like, I feel like there's a whole bunch of people in the party like that. Like the Democratic Party is not 𝗲𝗏, okay? He's a piece of it, but he's not the whole thing by a long shot, dude. Dude, 𝗲𝗏 and that kind of leftism is like 20% of the Democratic Party. Maybe 25, okay? And they can't fucking win shit without all those other people that Brian Tyler Cohen's involved with. Now, the thing about it is, the thing about like 𝗲𝗏𝗽𝗪, okay, and you saying you don't like him personally, you're like, okay, so find somebody to run against him. Like, get involved. Instead of yelling at Brian Tyler Cohen, who doesn't hate 𝗲𝗏𝗽𝗪, you should get involved in finding an opponent for 𝗲𝗏𝗽𝗪 and get him out there. You know, I mean, it's weird, though, with me, right? Because I'm a mix of both. Like, I don't like 𝗲𝗏𝗽𝗪, but I do respect the power that he has. And the fact of the matter is though I may disagree with the way he executes the power, I don't have the power to upend him, okay? And so if you don't have the power to upend him, then you have to work with him. You know what I mean? You need him to be an ally, okay? And like, if I got in Congress, okay, I wouldn't try to knock off somebody like 𝗲𝗏 until I could. But if I got into Congress, you can damn sure bet I would get on the right side of 𝗲𝗏𝗽𝗪, right? Or at least be able to work with him so I could get my shit taken seriously. He's a really powerful guy to know. You know what I'm saying? The same with AOC. Like, you know, like I think AOC, she plays it really well too, right? A lot of leftists get mad at her because she goes in there and she's like not against everybody. She's like herself and she has her own thing, but she also knows how to play nice with the people that have power, because that's how you get power, guys. Okay? You don't get power by making all the people with power avoid you. Okay? You don't. You get power by getting in the room with the people that have power. It's like, it's more complicated. You know, you're glad I'm not a purist? See, it's weird because I am like a purist at heart. And I am also, though, a realist in like how we get to execute your purist tendencies. Because the realism is politics is schmoozing and access. And if you don't have access, you have no power. And that's why I wish the purist leftists would sort of learn how to play the game a little bit, because otherwise they're never going to have the power and they're never going to get the shit they want, because you have to play the politics a little bit or you just will keep getting fucked, right? If you keep considering everybody a sellout. Now, again, though, I'm not going to let We Are Chorus completely off the hook, though, guys, okay? Because this is what I posted about today. I'm going to show you two things, okay? First thing I'm going to show you is this tweet, and then I'm going to show you the other side, because I have a two-sided issue about the We Are Chorus thing, okay? And about the dark money, the 1630. And I'm going to lay it out on the line for you right here, okay? And then we're going to move on to things that are more important than me. But everybody's doing damage control. Pacman's doing damage control. Brian's doing damage control. Fucking Taylor Lorenz is trying to whip up public frenzy on her side. And you see people on TikTok choosing sides. And I think a lot of this comes down to the Gaza leftism split, where everybody that sort of like feels like Gaza and the genocide is the number one issue in detangling from Israel, they're all like, fuck the dark money. And they're worried that the dark money is being funded by Israel, and that this thing is like a way to trash on the Democrats that they believe are central to Israel. That is part of the anti-chorus thing, right? That like if they're in there and they're taking this dark money, they're puppets of Israel secretly. That's literally the split that I see. And then people that are more like in line with the mainstream Democratic Party are like, this is left-wing money. Why are you so upset that it's left-wing money? We're not taking money from Russia. 1630 funds a lot of good initiatives. Why are you making 1630 look bad just because you don't know who funds it, okay? And now there is something of like, why can't we know who funds it? All right, I think that's a legitimate question. Okay, but now, ready? I'm going to read this tweet, and then I'm going to show you the thing that I looked at on the Chorus website today. Okay, so here, it says, Taylor Lorenz blocking everyone who posts the connection between the 1630 fund and the people quietly paying her $8K a month says something. Okay, and that bothered me. Okay, Taylor Lorenz followed me, and she has her comments blocked, so only her followers can get in there and leave a comment. And so the thing is there is a disclosure from 2022. This is the public disclosure of the Organization for 1630 Fund. Now, if you go down here and you look at this shit, there's a whole bunch of donos that we don't know who they are because they don't have to report the person. If you go down and get into this thing, when you get into the 80s, what this is grants and other assistance to organizations. Now, originally, I thought that this was money paid to 1630, but it's not. This is money that 1630 paid to other organizations. And if you go down in here and you go to page 82, you will see Omidyar Network Services, okay? So Omidyar Network Services got paid $45,000 from 1630 Fund for civil rights and social action and advocacy. Now, Omidyar Network Services are the people that are paying Taylor Lorenz $8,000 a month. So 1630 paid money to the people that pay Taylor Lorenz. So Omidyar is in the 1630 family. They're getting money from that same fund, that dark money fund. Okay, now, also though, the guy who runs Omidyar Network, Pierre Omidyar, he was the founder of eBay. He's an Iranian businessman, very successful. He's in a lot of left-wing philanthropy. He donates millions to a thing called Hopewell Fund, which is a thing that funds 1630. So what it is 1630 dark money that we don't know who all puts in there? Yes, absolutely. We don't know everybody that puts money into dark money. Now, the other thing is, though, is the person that set up the fund to pay Taylor Lorenz also funds 1630 and gets money from 1630. So her organization is part of the network of left-wing funding that uses 1630 money and gives money to 1630. So she is a part of the 1630 umbrella. Even though she's not getting a paycheck directly from 1630, Omidyar Network is a middleman, just like 𝗣𝗢𝗏𝗃𝗧 is a middleman. Now, here, hold on one sec. We're going to address the rest of this shit. I'm going to address everything here. And I'm going to take 𝗣𝗢𝗏𝗃𝗧 to task, and I'm going to take Taylor Lorenz to task. We're going to look at them both. Now, I say it is also impossible to ignore how Gaza is layered in there, with an unspoken implication that people who aren't far left and completely Gaza focused are being paid by a secret lobby to be silent on the issue. Now, this was not expressly said, but there was definitely some implication from the Taylor Lorenz crowd that the 1630 was only supporting Israel positive creators, and they were paying people to not be critical of Israel. That was implied, if not directly said, okay? And that was also strongly implied that maybe Israel or AIPAC was funding the 1630, okay? But again, they didn't come out and say it, which I don't like when people are dancing around a point like that, but they're not being open about it. Now, you ready? Let's continue. I said, I've noticed people who are Gaza focused being mad, and people who are more domestically focused feeling like left-wing creators taking left-wing money is not a problem. Okay. And then some people are also, I saw some people that are on the flip side that were wondering if Taylor taking money from the Iranian businessman, Pierre Omidyar, was fueling her anti-Israel narrative, right? I've seen people ruminating about that. Like, is Omidyar funding all the pro-Palestinian people the same way that they think like 1630 is funding the pro-Israel people, right? I mean, I don't know. People are ruminating on all sides. And I said, frankly, the situation is pretty murky. Now, I said, though, there is definitely an issue of transparency, okay? There is an issue of transparency, guys. The fact that 1630 doesn't show us whose money it is. Now, let's talk about transparency here, guys, because first I want to talk about transparency with Taylor Lorenz. So I was shocked to find out that Taylor Lorenz was getting $8,000 a month from Omidyar Network. I was shocked, guys. I was shocked to find out she was getting that money. You know why? Because I followed Taylor for a while and have seen many of her posts complaining about how hard it is to make living as a creator. And during none of that time did I acknowledge she was so well funded by a left-wing donor. I didn't even know journalists got paid like that. I thought she was a creator. So Taylor Lorenz did not go around telling people, hey, I'm funded by Omidyar Network. She talked once about getting into that network of writers, and at the very bottom of the article it said they received some travel compensation and a stipend, but it didn't say they were making $100,000 a year. And every day she's posting about, I didn't make enough on TikTok, no one's watching the videos, you know what I'm saying, and blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not saying that she's taking dark money, but I'm saying, though, she's out there being funded by a left-wing organization, and I didn't know that she was like an independent journalist who's receiving $100,000 a year from a network that is connected to the 1630 fund. And the guy who gives her that $100,000 a year is putting money into the 1630 fund and getting money out of the 1630 fund. So what's crazy is I didn't know she was making $100,000 a year while simultaneously saying, oh, I'm struggling as a creator. Like that's, I was just surprised. But she was not transparent. I think in general, people don't go around announcing who's paying them. So I said, but what do you want? If you want leftist creators to compete with the right, there needs to be funding. But who then decides what funding is allowed and not allowed? Is Taylor allowed to be funded by a funder of 1630, but nobody else can be funded by 1630? I mean, it feels like a lot like the far left shitting on the center left, and that isn't going to put us in the dub column. Let's figure this shit out. But now I want to hold chorus, though, responsible, okay? Because of this, okay? Now, obviously, in the interest of fairness to the Taylor Lorenz article, we do have to ask why this bit of the Chorus website doesn't list the 1630 fund. Okay, now this is on We Are Chorus, because look at this. If you go to We Are Chorus and it says who funds Chorus, it says Chorus is a nonprofit with grassroots support from hundreds of individuals. We're grateful to those who understand the importance of investing in the independent media ecosystem, yada, yada, yada. But like, why didn't they say 1630 here? Okay? Why didn't they say it with a link to 1630? Right? That to me is like as cheeky as Taylor going online every day saying I can barely make a living when she's actually already making $100,000. So she's not struggling to make a living. She's making $100,000 and all her travel's paid for. Meanwhile, she's like leaving guilt trips. Go donate to me because I'm hardly making a living. Right? So like everybody is sort of being a little bit dishonest about who's getting paid from what. But this though is problematic because Chorus didn't put 1630 on their website, which means that either A, they wanted to hide 1630 because they knew it was dark money and they knew that everybody was going to have a shit fit because some of that money, we don't know where it's coming from. Okay, so, right? So they're worried about pushback from the left. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shit. If they find out or if they deem it bad, then maybe it's going to hamper 1630, right? Or 1630 asks them to say, hey, man, we'll fund you, but we don't want to be connected to this. We don't want it to look like we're influencing what people are saying, okay? I mean, it is possible because 1630 does a whole bunch of shit for climate change and for civil rights. It's possible that 1630 was worried that, like, well, if they know we're funding you, everyone's going to think that we're telling all those creators what to say. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to look at this. Now, we could say, like, why is dark money even allowed in politics? And can we do something about that? Because I feel like everybody in politics is taking dark money. Okay, in some way, shape, or form, right? Like Taylor says, oh, Omidyar Network is not involved in dark money. But dude, Pierre Omidyar, the fucking businessman who's running Omidyar Network, he is involved in Arabella, in Hopewell, in 1630. Like that guy's involved in every dark money group in the country. So there's no way that Omidyar is like not involved with dark money. I mean, they're getting all that funding from this dark money shit everywhere else. Even if 1630's not paying Taylor, it's not like Omidyar sitting there in an office going, oh, well, the Hopewell and the 1630 and the Arabella money's over here, and this Omidyar Network money is coming from my cookie jar with the clean money, the non-dark. It's like it's all the same shit. You know what I'm saying? All of this money in politics is dark and corrupted and like through shell companies and the LLC of an LLC of an LLC, okay? And I don't know, I feel like that's a problem for all of us. Because at the end of the day, though, if Taylor Lorenz can take $8,000 from Omidyar and she can express her viewpoints without being influenced, as she claims, right? Like, for example, you ready? Taylor Lorenz didn't write a story about how Pierre Omidyar, the guy who runs her network, is involved in funding a dark money group, right? She didn't write that story, guys. Now, why didn't she write that story? Why didn't she write a story of like, you know what? I just became an Omidyar Network fellow. I got a fellowship and I'm being paid this handsome stipend, but I found out that the businessman who's running this network is involved with 1630 fund. He's involved in a bunch of dark money. Why didn't she write that story, guys? And why, when I mentioned that story's available for her to write, why did she block me? okay? Because she's writing about dark money in a way that doesn't cut her money off. And so we're all involved in money somewhere. She's writing the story about like 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗓𝗏. But like, what makes 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗓 different than Omidyar Network? I mean, I don't see a lot of difference there. I don't. If I'm funding Arabella and Hopewell and 1630, and then I'm also funding a bunch of reporters, that money is all involved in the same shit. I'm still involved in dark money, even if the reporters aren't technically involved in dark money. But if this is all left-wing money going to advance left-wing things, I don't know. To me, that shit is really confusing. Because you could say, okay, Taylor, why didn't you write a story about Pierre Omidyar? Why did you write a story just about 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗓𝗏? Because 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗓𝗏 is definitely involved in taking dark money. But Pierre Omidyar is putting a lot of money into that dark money fund. Omidyar isn't the only funder, I know, but he's still a part of it. If I'm in a secret fund with 9 other people that I don't know, and I'm putting my money in there to help those aims, I am like tying myself to those other 9 people. I'm willing to put in money to a thing that is a dark money foundation. So if I'm kicking into a dark money foundation to help them pass out some dark money, that is the same as taking dark money. I mean, literally, if there weren't a whole bunch of Omidyars, there wouldn't be any dark money. But he doesn't even donate from Omidyar. He has a whole other foundation he donates to. He donates into Hopewell, and then Hopewell donates into 1630. So it's not even like he's donating. You see? You see how like there's a separation there? The same way that 1630 is not funding those creators. 1630 funded 𝗲𝗄𝗽𝗓𝗏, who funded the creators. Okay? So I don't know. To me, I look at all of that and I see that it's all kind of doing a little bit of the same thing. Now, here's where it gets complicated, though. You ready? Is I would like to address taking dark money puts a stain on independent media. But guys, independent media means not corporate. Okay? That means that there's not a shareholders board making your business decisions. Okay? If you work for CNN, if you work for the New York Times, if you work for Fox, you don't make business decisions. A group of shareholders make your business decisions. That is corporate media. Independent media means those decisions are being made by people that are not a corporate board. Now, the crazy thing, guys, you ready? There's actually more disclosure in corporate media than there is in independent media. And that's absolutely true. All of independent media is being funded by shit that is outside the disclosure range. That's really the crazy thing about independent media. Like corporate media is run by the boards, but then we have access to all their financials. So independent media, I guess, is rife with complications because there isn't that transparency. And so I don't know, man. It's like we should figure this out. But see, there's the thing, though. When you say it's not independent media when commentators' content are being influenced, but this is the thing, the root I want to get to, is you don't know that commentators' content is being influenced. Because the problem is everybody on both sides of the left and center issue think the other side are paid shills. That's what they do. Or they think they're fucking clout shills. Leftist people keeping their viewpoints because of audience capture and trying to build a renegade financial system that gets them paid and destroys the democratic power system. And the leftists think the democratic people only have the viewpoint because they're getting paid. But so this idea, though, guys, is I'm going to go on record and say this. And say, one, everybody who's getting paid is accountable to something. If you're not getting $8,000 a month from 1630, but you're making $8,000 a month from your YouTube channel, you are still accountable to your YouTube audience. And you might be susceptible to making a bunch of widgets for your YouTube audience and stoking their outrage, even if it's not good for the political climate, even if it's not good for the party. Okay, there's a possibility that some of our far left creators stoke outrage that actually harms our political environment, but they're doing it because it's making them a ton of money. And that's why they won't make nice with middle of the road people and coalesce with the Democratic Party. I guarantee you that is happening. There are some people on the left that don't even want to they just want to stoke outrage because it makes them cash. And there are certainly centrists who want to protect the Democratic Party because it just makes them cash. I think the pollution is on both sides. And I'm not going to say like who, because you're never going to know who that is. I just know that human beings, nobody is pure of motivation. Everybody's trying to make money. Everybody's trying to get fame. Every content creator is motivated by making a living and becoming a bigger entity. Every goddamn one. I don't care if you're left, center, or MAGA. Everybody is out there trying to make a living and trying to carve out their piece of pie and trying to be as big as Joe Rogan or whatever, to be the biggest. Everybody is. Okay, some people, it's just harder because their viewpoint is not popular, or they don't have as good of connections, or they weren't born into a rich family, or they're not being funded by 1630 or whatever. You know what I mean? But every goddamn content creator is trying to fucking make the system work for them so they can make money and get bigger. Okay? And then once they get big, they're trying to stay big. And so it's like some people are maybe taking corporate money, right? Like you look at 𝗏𝗏touch, okay? 𝗏𝗏touch, and Adam Mockler, every video they're promoting some product, okay? They're taking corporate money. Now, I don't do that, okay? 𝗏𝗏𝗽𝗧𝗏𝗏 doesn't do that. If I get offered some of that, will I do it? I don't know. Maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. I don't have anything against it. I don't feel like I can't take corporate money. You know what I mean? And you're right, Kyle doesn't. But the thing about it, though, let me cue you in, though. The thing about this, though, I got to tell you, and I'm not putting down Kyle because I fucking love 𝗏𝗏𝗽𝗧𝗏𝗏, but Kyle has the luxury of not taking that because Kyle came up when it was easier to succeed in political thing. It's a lot harder to make a living now. If you're starting out now, you can't really blow up the same way that Kyle did 10 years ago because it's a lot harder to blow up now. It's a very saturated market. You got to build it very slowly. It's a lot more expensive to live. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot harder to make it on YouTube now. Like I remember seeing something about the Vanguard where they were like, God damn, if we had done this 10 years ago, we'd be massive. And it's like, yeah, they would. But now they're doing it and they're like at 100K and growing, they're growing at a reasonable clip. It was a lot easier. Like people who blew up 10 years ago, like they have a little bit of a luxury that newcomers don't. Like a newcomer coming in and taking corporate sponsorship may be the difference between them having to work a job or just being able to make content. So, I mean, none of it is cut in stone. I'm just saying, though, here's my thing, guys, okay, is like if we want to have the fight about dark money, we can have the fight about dark money. But we do need to be consistent. And we do need to be consistent that, yeah, we are chorus being a middleman for dark money is weird. And yeah, though, having journalists like Taylor Lorenz, independent journalists that are getting paid the same amount of money from a middleman who's in bed with all of those dark money groups, that's weird too. Like, it's just weird that all of this dark money is flowing around. And then we're arguing about who's being darker or who's really right. Oh, he's not taking dark money. He's just funding dark money. Oh, they're taking dark money, but I'm funding dark money. And it's like, dude, that's dumb. Because at the end of the day, guys, we need each other. Okay, Brian Tyler Cohen and Taylor Lorenz and Matt Binder and Mike Figueredo and 𝗏𝗏𝗽𝗧𝗏𝗏 and fucking Franny and Tommy Viator and fucking 𝗲𝗡𝗏 and AOC. God damn it, we all need each other, okay? Because the problem is if we don't all get together, those Republican motherfuckers are gonna shove a Bible right up our fucking asses, okay? And Gaza's gonna be gone, and the West Bank's gonna be gone, and fucking there's gonna be Bibles in our fucking ass, and the gay people are gonna be in fucking work camps if we don't get our shit together, you know? So that's the thing that pisses me off about this, is like, you know, I get it. If we want to avoid dark money, then we got to fucking set some ground rules. Then maybe Pierre needs to stop funding fucking, right? I mean, like, why is it okay for Pierre Omidyar to fund 1630, but then everybody who takes money from 1630 is bad? Disclosure is essential. This wouldn't be a problem if origin of the funding was disclosed. What I'm trying to tell you is that nobody discloses their funding, guys. Okay, like I said, nobody knew Taylor Lorenz was making $8K a month. And I didn't know that Taylor Lorenz was making $8K a month from the guy who was funding 1630. Because nobody discloses this shit. That's a reality. Now, you could say that, oh, we should have better disclosure. But like, okay, let's work on that. But to act like anybody's out there disclosing where they're getting all their money from, that is bullshit. When you go to a business, if you have a job at fucking Intel, you don't tell people how much you make. You will get fired, bro. If you go into Intel or whatever because they hire people at different pay grades, if you go into Intel and start telling people how much you're getting paid, they'll fucking fire you, bro. Like, I shit you not. Like, it's like the American culture is to hide the money because this shit is not really fair. And that's shit that I fucking don't like. So I agree with you there that we do have to stop. Like, we have to figure something out about, like, the way money is treated darkly and secretly to begin with. Now, though, I want to address something else, though. Not everybody who supports the Democratic Party is a paid shill, guys. Some people just like the Democratic Party. It's also possible that they want to run for office 15 years from now. And so they're going to be nice to the party because they want to run as a Democrat. And they're trying to work their way up in the party status. And like, that doesn't mean they're doing it just because they get paid. I mean, I like the party. There are people on Twitter call me a paid shill all the time. Sometimes they tell me I'm a baby killer. And I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, what are you talking about? I'm fucking extraordinarily left. I just don't hate the Democratic Party. So the leftists are like, you're an op. You're a fraud, right? But I'll be honest. You know, you look at David Pakman with his $8K a month. Was he critical of the Democratic Party before he took that $8K? No. He wasn't critical of the party, which is why he got the $8K, guys. Right? I got rejected. They didn't give me $8K because I questioned some shit. Right? Even though I also support the party, but you know what I'm saying? Right? You know, I mean, there's a reason 𝗫𝗏𝗽𝗏 didn't get the MSNBC show, right? Because he was really critical of Obama and he was really critical of the power structure. So they're like, all right, you're not getting the show. And then he's like, oh, fuck. But like, dude, live by the sword, die by the sword. So yeah, I mean, we have issues, guys. We have a lot of issues with money and politics. Like all of it, man. All of it. There's a reason the Dems' approval rating is worse than Trump. I mean, there is, because everybody's crestfallen that we lost, right? Everybody's crestfallen. And because there's a huge schism in the Democratic Party right now that is partially because of people having feelings about the genocide and feeling powerless and attacking the Democrats because it's all they can do because they can't move the Republicans at all. So they're desperately trying to move their own party. And there's outside forces that are manipulating that are, believe it or not, there are right-wing and other forces that are most certainly using dark money to keep us attacking each other, because as long as the centrists and the Democratic Party and the leftists fight, the Republicans are going to keep winning and amassing power. And until we stop fighting and fucking get together and forget about this goddamn approval rating and agree to work together, we are going to lose all our goddamn civil rights. and we're going to get ravaged by Bibles unless we stop killing our own shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, dude, we have a corporate party that like we're a part of. And so you can either leave and go build your own party and go it alone, 1v1v Republicans, and see what happens, or we can work together. But if you think you're going to make the Democratic Party become 𝗲𝗂𝗡𝗏, that's not going to happen. And the thing about it is, though, is the Democratic Party's not going to do what the Republicans did, right? Like Trump took over the Republican Party, okay? The Democrats would never let a wild man come in and take over their party. They're too smart and strategic for that. The Republicans are fucking dumb shits. So Trump was able to come in and own them all. And he may very well have some fucking, you know, he may have some payola or some shit on him, you know? But so we got to figure something out, right? But I am disappointed, though, that I'm disappointed that Taylor Lorenz blocked me. And like she accused me of like using ChatGPT, and then she like immediately like dismissed the things I was talking to her about. And that was, you know, and that was something that bummed me out. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.